Good morning, and to all the European participants that are joining us today, and a very warm good afternoon to our Singaporean partners and colleagues. This webinar today is in the occasion of the EU-Singapore Matchmaking Event that will take place between 22nd and 24th of October. The idea of this webinar is to prepare you for the forthcoming commission, but as well as to give you some insights with regards to doing business in Singapore, and to prepare you for how you create your profiles in the best possible way and use B2Match tool. Before going through the agenda, I will quickly represent you the housekeeping rules. This webinar is scheduled to last 1 hour and a half. It will be recorded and afterwards published on the European Cluster Collaboration Platform, together with all the materials that are shared during the webinar. The participants are in listening mode. If you'd like to raise a question or share information or would like to address some aspects, please use the Q&A or the chat box. So without further delay, let's go quickly through the agenda of the webinar. We will start with welcoming and opening remarks from the European Commission, as well as our partners from the Enterprise Singapore. Then we will go into a session for the market access information. We will hear the regional approach, aspects from the regional approach, as well as there would be a presentation of the input paper. Later on, there will be a presentation of the Southeast Asia IPSME Help Desk, and we will continue with the presentation of the B2Match platform, and we will highlight once again the importance of how fully to utilize the tool in order to achieve more successful meetings. We will summarize with some next steps about the forthcoming commission as it is, with what to remember and how to proceed for the best planning. So this is the agenda for the day. We will be sharing information as well during the webinar in the chat box, some important links. Those questions that you have and we are not able to address directly, we will follow up together with all the materials after the webinar. But now, without further delay, we will open with the welcoming remarks. And here I would like to give the floor to Christophe Guichard from the European Commission, DG GROW, for his remarks. Christophe, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Theodora, and good morning and good afternoon, everyone. I'm Christophe Guichard from the Cluster Unit of DG GROW at the European Commission, and I'm very pleased to address this event with short opening remarks. Our event this morning shall give you some background information to help you prepare for our upcoming matchmaking event in Singapore. And this event will actually be held for the third edition on site in Singapore. So I'm really pleased to welcome all of you from across Europe and Singapore to participate to this edition of this matchmaking event, focusing this time on clean energy. And we have today a well-balanced delegation from across Europe. It includes 29 delegates with representatives from 17 clusters and 6 companies from 11 European countries. So this session this morning will give you some guidance on how to do business and collaborate with Singapore. It will also give you some general information on trade trends and how to deal with IPR issues in Southeast Asian markets. You will receive also practical information on your participation in the Asia Clean Energy Summit and the different site visits planned to take advantage of all collaboration opportunities in Singapore. I would like to thank all our counterparts for working together to make this matchmaking event a success. This includes our main partners, the Singapore Business Federation and Enterprise Singapore, the EU delegation to Singapore, the Southeast Asia IPR SME Help Desk, the EU Chamber of Commerce in Singapore, the Enterprise Europe Network, and the European Cluster Collaboration Platform. So as you can see, this is really a great teamwork effort. The main objective for this event is to help European and Singaporean clusters and companies to create new trade and investment links and business partnerships. And I would like to emphasize that further reinforcing EU-Singapore trade and investment relations is a priority for the European Commission. Our free trade agreement that was signed in 2019 contributed to reduce barriers and ensure increased market access for our businesses. We need to make sure that our companies can benefit successfully from the opportunities the free trade agreement has created, and this matchmaking event intends to deliver on this objective. It will also contribute to implement the administrative arrangement that was signed in 2020 to foster cluster and business cooperation. Now, to come back on our event this morning, we have prepared a very dense program with matchmaking sessions, informal business dinner, participation at the expo, and various interesting site visits. And I would have one last remark. This is about the follow-up to the business opportunities you will identify during this mission. The ECCP will send you a feedback survey immediately after the event, and I would like to stress the importance for us that you complete the survey carefully with details and concrete but not confidential information on the different cooperation cases identified. We put in place a full agenda of networking opportunities over 3 days, and we would really appreciate if you could share detailed feedback to be able to assess the success of this mission and the cooperation potential with our partners. So I strongly encourage you to take all these opportunities to network and matchmake with Singaporean partners during this mission. Thank you very much, and I wish you all successful meetings in Singapore.
Thank you very much, Christoph, for the welcoming words, for the summaries, and stressing the importance of the qualitative feedback after the event. I can't agree more with you. After all the efforts for building this intense program, it is really important to have a clear picture of the outcomes of the event. But of course, we will speak a lot on that. So thank you once again for your welcoming remarks. And here it is with a great pleasure to give the floor to Adeline Tai, the Deputy Director Europe of Enterprise Singapore. Adeline, you hear us?
Yes, hello. Thank you very much, Theodora. Good morning and good afternoon to everyone. My name is Adeline, and I'm the Deputy Director of the Europe team at Enterprise Singapore. So on behalf of Enterprise Singapore, it's my pleasure to welcome you to today's webinar. And I look forward to welcoming all of you in person in Singapore very soon too. And to our Singapore friends who are here today, I look forward to meeting you again soon as well. I'll start with a quick introduction of Enterprise Singapore for those who are not yet familiar. So we are the Singapore government agency that is part of the Singapore Ministry of Trade and Industry, and we support the growth and development of Singapore companies, especially through internationalization, trade, and we work closely with many such as the Singapore Business Federation, which is the apex business chamber in Singapore, and many other trade associations and centers of innovation in Singapore. And in this regard, we are actually very glad that the upcoming EU-Singapore Cluster Matchmaking Event, which all of you will be participating in on the 22nd of October, will help to facilitate these useful and meaningful connections between EU clusters and many of these Singapore associations, chambers, and centers of innovation, so that we can work together to facilitate more exchanges and business partnerships between EU member companies, as well as our Singapore companies in Singapore and the Southeast Asia region. And at the same time, we also hope to open doors for our Singapore companies to explore opportunities in Europe through partnerships with many of the EU clusters that are here today. So as all of you know, this year's EU-Singapore Cluster Matchmaking Event in Singapore will take place in conjunction with the Singapore International Energy Week. This event is taking place for the 17th time, and will convene key discussions in topics such as growth opportunities in clean energy technologies, the vital role of low carbon technologies, transition finance, energy market innovation, and so on. And this year, Singapore and the International Energy Agency will also jointly organize the inaugural Ministerial Forum to discuss opportunities and challenges with regards to decarbonization in Southeast Asia for the very first time. So it is a very important event, which Singapore places high priority on, given our interest in supporting the green energy transition at home, globally, and especially in Southeast Asia. And I hope that you will be able to gain many useful insights through this upcoming mission to Singapore. So on this note, I would like to thank Christoph, Theodora, and the entire team at the EU cluster as well as SDF for the strong collaboration on this important upcoming mission. And we look forward to having all of you in Singapore very soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Delenn, for your welcoming words. Thank you very much for all the partnership and the support of organizing this mission. So once again, thank you, and we are really all looking forward of coming back to Singapore and making possible the connections between European and Singaporean participants. So now we will continue with the next presentation and next part of this webinar. And I would like here to give the floor to Jan-Philipp Kramer, the Head of EU Services of Prognos, who is also part of the ECP team, for the presentation of the input paper.
Yes, good morning and good afternoon to all of you. It's a great pleasure to be here in this preparatory webinar, and I will try to give you a little bit of insights on the macro trends and also some key policies that could be of interest in preparing for your visit to Singapore. And we can start right looking into the economic profile. I think it's quite important to have a good understanding of this in terms of the potential and also where are specific strong points to connect overall. But speaking more broadly about the economic dynamics, I think it's very important to know that with Singapore and also the access that Singapore overall provides to the Southeast Asian region, there's a lot of economic growth potential. We see that in the figures over the last years, 2022 with almost 4% of GDP growth, and also for 2024, the projections are quite high, between 2 and 3%, which I think shows you on a very macro level that there's a lot of growth potential. And this also applies to a number of other indicators that we just showed here to prepare you in that way. So it's very low unemployment. It's very high economic complexity, ranking 5th in the world, which means that the activities that are taken by Singaporean companies are very knowledge intensive, are very high value added. And this comes along also with the AI readiness, which is ranked 1st in the Asia Pacific region. As many of you already know, also from earlier conversations, of course, Singapore has a strong services sector. As you can see, it's a large chunk of the economy, over 70% of the value added. But at the same time, it's a manufacturing and trade hub. So almost 20% still resides in manufacturing, which is very interesting and very important also for all of these activities. And you can see that just by the breakdown that we provide on the right-hand side, differentiating between manufacturing and services. So what is it about really? Where are those economic concentrations, the cluster structures from a regional economic point of view? And it's quite clear that there are key industries that are of great importance also for Europe and that are of mutual interest in a way, including the electronics industry, also including semiconductors, the chemical industry, which is very strong on both sides, so on the European and Singaporean side, engineering, in particular precision engineering, and biomedical manufacturing. So I think there are many relations that we can build upon that, and that are also represented by the clusters. And of course, as I said, services represent a huge part of the value added, and that also reflects, of course, then the breakdown here. And as a trade hub, of course, trade overall, wholesale trade, also transportation play a key role. So anything around logistics obviously becomes very interesting. But not only that, there's a lot of ICT capacity in Singapore, as I mentioned, AI readiness ranking first in the greater region, and other forms of professional services that could be of interest. When we look at the trade patterns, I don't want to spend too much time. It was also already mentioned by Christophe Guichard from the European Commission that obviously the EU-Singapore Free Trade Agreement was very crucial. It helped to remove custom duties and limit bureaucracy. And we see that despite the differences in size, obviously, Singapore and Europe trade a lot. The overall trade volume is over 46 billion US dollars. And I'm not going to go into all of the breakdowns, which countries are most represented. But the most important message here is that there are a number of different countries from all across Europe, from North, East, South, and West Europe, that are linked into the Singaporean market, either through imports or exports. And that is, I think, a very important message that this is really a partnership that is integrated into the European economy. It's very important also to mention a new digital trade agreement, which was concluded in July 2024, so this year, which I think will further boost the trade, not only in services, but also in goods, by ensuring predictability and stability around legal issues. We may hear a little bit more about that by our following experts, but also just boosting the trade capacity between the two territories. And if we look now into the breakdown of the traded commodities on the next slide, we can even deep dive more. And I think this is following up the message that I wanted to pass to you. We do see that our two economies are highly integrated in fields that really matter to our economies. On the left-hand side shows you the imports from Singapore to the EU. You see, largely speaking, relevance in the field of pharmaceutical industry with medicaments and oxygen function ammonial compounds. You see also some other more chemical industry and pharmaceutical related issues like lactam heterocyclic compounds. So a lot of detailed information you can find here. But of course, also, again, the semiconductor and electronical industry, which is represented here with the top 5 traded commodities. And on the EU side, it's a bit two pillars that you can see. It's also from our side, electronic integrated circuits, but also very importantly, airplanes and other aircraft and aerospace industry components. And then with a large representation also high value added beauty and fashion products. So you can see it's a very interesting picture and a lot of interesting touch points, I hope, for the clusters from various sectors coming. But of course, as was mentioned in the introduction, this event and the visit will be very much about the green transition. So looking at my last additional point on the next slide, there are 2 maybe interesting programs for you to check out, and you can also read about them in our input paper, which relate to strategies that Singapore has established and which may bring also some relevant connections and opportunities for cluster-to-cluster collaboration, or of course business-to-business relationships. But before going to these 2 plans, just a reminder, the engagement with Singapore, as Christophe mentioned, has some legacy, and with the agreement on cluster cooperation between Singapore and the EU, I think it's clear that there's a strong commitment and a strong belief that cluster-to-cluster collaboration can bridge many distances here in a positive way to enable a stronger, even stronger economic cooperation. When it comes to the two plans, we show here the Research, Innovation and Enterprise 2025 plan. So it's still ongoing, but it may be renewed shortly. But what is important here is that the Singaporean government had allocated over 15 billion euros to key priorities. You see 4 domains: manufacturing, trade, connectivity, health, urban solutions, sustainability, and digital economy. So very interesting points, and of course, including also green economy, as was mentioned by Adeline before. And I think these are really important connection point, because they also include the facilitation of open innovation partnerships and internationalization activities, which very much speak to us here. And then lastly, the Singapore Green Plan 2030. I think this is really clear: green manufacturing, sustainable supply chains, and a number of key pillars that are interesting: green financing, food resilient, electric vehicles. So all of the things and priorities that we share. And again, there's also some interesting funding and financing behind this with the green bonds reaching $19 billion, or the Agri-Food Cluster Transformation Fund with 60 million in its initial allocations. So just showing you there's a number of things that you can look into and you can keep in the back of your mind when developing these business relationships and cluster partnerships. So quickly summarizing, I think the potential, if we go to the final slide, the potential is clear. There's a lot of diverse opportunities. And this is also backed up by existing trade patterns, which is clear as a sign we are already engaged. And I gave you only the abstract numbers, but that's clearly there are thousands of companies that are engaging in these activities of trading goods and services from one side to the other. So this is very important. And we have a number of agreements that show the commitment on the political level to substantiate trade. And this also applies to clusters, which I mentioned before. I think that's a very important foundation, because we strongly believe in the potential here that clusters can bridge many gaps and open up many opportunities in this context. So with this said, just a reminder, look at the input paper as a good preparation for some of those activities that you're engaging in. And I wish you a very successful trip to Singapore and the best of business development you can have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jan Philippe, for this presentation. As you have mentioned, the input paper is available on the European Cluster Collaboration Platform. We will share this presentation as well, which is giving this overview. Plus, we have started preparing one more document, useful document for the participants, for the European participants, to understand better, to prepare better for the forthcoming mission and their approach. This is an info pack where, again, you will be able to see a summary of the different plans of the sources available. So hopefully with that, all materials, you will not only prepare as a cluster or as a SME, but also you can speak and pass the message and the information and knowledge to your members. So Jan, thank you very much once again for the presentation. We will continue further to having more information about the regional approach by hearing from Arne Gramskov, the Deputy Director, North America, Europe and Central Asia from Singapore Business Federation. Majority of, if you don't know, Singapore Business Federation is a very strong partner of the ECCP, and thanks to them, we are organizing jointly this event, the overall mission. So Arne, the floor is yours. Please join me for your presentation.
Yeah, thank you very much, Theodore. A warm welcome and good morning to everybody. As Theodore said, we are very happy to host this event together. And yeah, we warmly welcome you to Singapore. Let me share my, okay. 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 So I'm working for Singapore Business Federation. Before we start more in detail, just a short introduction about Singapore. I think you know already a little bit, but just to give you a general overview, Singapore is a small little red dot on the map, but Singapore makes quite a difference. I mean, we have a population of 5.6 million people. Size-wise, we are a small little dot, but we have a very active trade, as we already heard from the previous presentations. Our GDP is in the area of $85,000 per capita. And yes, our top trading partners are China, Malaysia, United States, and of course, Europe. That's why we're very happy to have this Euro cluster here in Singapore. And as you can see, Singapore likes to be number one in many things. I mean, we are one of the most competitive economies. We are very easy to do business, one of the easiest places. You can register your company, your business very easily. We have a very good IP protection. We are one of the most competitive countries here in Asia. So I think this gives you an idea what you can expect from Singapore Business Federation. So basically, we are the apex business chamber. We are a non-profit organization, and we have in Singapore around 30,000 members. These are all companies here in Singapore. And as I say, we are a non-profit organization. It means we are the voice of these companies towards government, towards various activities. This chart shows you basically SBF in a nutshell. Our mission is very clear. We have our idea is to shape solutions, build partnerships, and foster capabilities in order to help our partners as much as possible. We identified different tasks, basically what companies need in order to be future ready. This is coming from smart and able, skilled, empowered, scaled internationally, sustainability centric, social impactful, and of course our TSCs also. We achieved this by having basically 5 business units. Our business units are in the area of digitalization, transformation. Internationalization is the part where we work together with this EU cluster. I will explain this a little bit later. But we also help our members in the area of job and skills, particularly since the pandemic. There have been a lot of upgrading, acquiring new skills, and so on. And as I say, we are the bridge from the companies also towards the government. That's why the environmental social governance is very important. We have regular exchanges. We provide proposals to the governments and so on. And of course, the last block is the membership, where we have various activities and engagements with our members. The international part, we have an initiative with Enterprise Singapore. It's called Global Connect at SBF. Here we work very, very close with our local companies to identify and help them to expand internationally. And I think this will be very interesting for you, because here you will meet potential companies, and hopefully there will be opportunities out of this during this EU cluster meeting here in Singapore. We break it down in 3 steps. I mean, we help them to learn about future markets. For example, if they want to expand into the European Union, for each market, we provide a different kind of training possibilities. Once they have opportunities, then they start moving and land their activities over there. But this is not the end point for us. We want that they have a sustainable business, long-term business. That's why the third step is very important. Once they decided to go overseas, that they really establish deep roots in these markets, work with business networks, work with governments, so that this is really a long-term sustainable development, which is a win-win for the companies in Singapore, but of course also for companies who join from this EU cluster. The way we work with our companies here is we identify what are their key knowledge points, what can they bring on the table in order to expand overseas. We see how they position their brand, what markets they're looking for. So for this EU cluster, we have companies who are really interested in these sectors which have been mentioned, and also these kind of markets. We work with them hand in hand, strategize what could be the right approach, best market entry strategy. And of course, we also offer various kind of support with foreign governments, business entities, and so on. How we do scale internationally, we have various activities. One is basically what we are going to do with this EU cluster matchmaking event. We have roundtables, we have one-to-one sessions, but we also do other things. We have focus groups, experts. We do a lot of networking activities. We also arrange for our members overseas manpower trips. Basically, we bring them. We just came back from Turkey, for example, where we had a delegation of Singapore companies, and they had the chance to explore opportunities in these markets. And last but not least, also regional conferences, which is in line with this EU cluster. And therefore, we are really looking forward to welcome you very soon here in Singapore. And yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and for the presentation, but also thank you for this partnership. Before going to the next presentation, I just want to give very quickly the floor to Karina, from your colleague Karina, that we are working closely on a daily basis. Karina, just maybe it would be great if you guys also say hello, as you're part of the team that it's making this happening. So it would be great to hear from you.
Hi, thank you, Theodora, and very nice to meet everyone online. And Arne and I and the team are very much looking forward to meeting everyone in Singapore in 3 weeks' time. So we're working hard behind the scenes to arrange and invite trade associations, clusters, and companies to meet with you. So that's all I wanted to say. Looking forward to meeting you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Karina, and we are all very much looking forward to our mission to Singapore. So now I'm giving the floor to Jean-Pierre de Sanchez, Trade Policy Officer, representing the EU delegation to Singapore.
Yes, a very good afternoon from Singapore. Thank you, Theodora. Good to see you again, and also good to see all the other speakers. I will give a short presentation to give an overview on EU-Singapore relations. We have already heard from Christophe from the input paper as well. There is useful information on this. So I will complement what has already been said today. So as you know by now, Singapore is really a regional hub for business. So Singapore, because of its geographical location, its business-friendly environment, is really a key trade, transport, financial, logistics hub in Southeast Asia. That makes it for us as Europe an attractive destination, and Singapore has throughout the years become our main trade and investment partner in the region. To date, we have about 12,000 European companies that have presence in Singapore. So that can be either to do local business, but also to use Singapore as a hub, as a regional headquarter for their business relations with other Southeast Asian countries. As already mentioned earlier, so we have a very vibrant trade figure with Singapore. In 2023, EU exports amounted to 32 billion euros, imports were a bit less of 20 billion euros. We export, as already said, a wide range of commodities, which go from raw material to more sophisticated goods. And this covers really all, let's say, electronics, machinery, but also any other, let's say, goods that we can find on the market. But interestingly enough, we have actually a bigger number of trades in services. So our trade in services is over 75 billion euros annually. And there we have a wide range of services that we trade. This can be financial services, transport services, business services, but also royalties linked to intellectual property rights. And lastly, foreign direct investment. Singapore is also our first investment destination in Southeast Asia, and our FDI stocks amounted to almost 300 billion euros at the end of 2022. But also on the other side, we have brought quite a lot of Singaporean FDI into the European Union, and at the end of 2022, this amounted also over 200 billion euros. So all very impressive figures that have indeed been increasing throughout the years. And because of this important business relation, it's also very key for businesses to create a business environment that is transparent, that is legally binding, let's say, and transparent for business. So therefore, we have concluded a number of agreements. So the main agreement that you have heard of is, of course, the EU-Singapore Free Trade Agreement. And this has been in force since the 21st of November of 2019. So this means that this year we're actually celebrating almost 5 years of entry into force. But in addition to that, we have also signed other agreements. One is on investment protection. So this agreement was signed in 2018, but we are still waiting for the ratification by individual member states. And the same goes for the partnership and cooperation agreement, which is more a political framework agreement. Then in addition, you are part actually because, or this mission is happening under an administrative arrangement on cluster cooperation, which was signed in 2020, sorry. So we had already 3 on-site missions, 1 virtual mission. So this is the 5th, let's say, clusters mission that we're doing in Singapore following this agreement. And then recently we have upgraded our relations in the digital area because obviously, as you can imagine, digital trade is becoming more and more important in the current context. We signed a digital partnership in early 2023. This is an agreement that aims to increase our cooperation in all digital areas. This can come from AI to other types of cooperation in the digital framework. And recently in July, we concluded negotiations for a binding digital trade agreement. And so this will complement the free trade agreement. So we are now still waiting for it to be signed, and then it will have to come into force as well. But this is a very important development in the e-commerce area. As you might know, we have also been negotiating at WTO level for an e-commerce agreement. But this will really create, let's say, more certainty for businesses to do cross-border data trades, but also other types of digital trade arrangements. But I will come back now to give a bit of an overview of the EU-Singapore Free Trade Agreement. We heard a bit about it. So generally, when we talk about the free trade agreement, we want to eliminate tariffs. So we do that for trading goods. So the EU has full access, tariff-free, to the Singapore market, meaning that when we export from the EU into Singapore, all our goods originating in the European Union can be free of tariffs. In addition, we have for trade and services various commitments which allow us to have preferential treatment into the Singapore market. This can be for commercial presence, but also for cross-border trade and services. And in addition, we have also increased market access to the government procurement area. So meaning that we can participate in tenders by the Singaporean authorities, which can be very interesting for our companies to participate in. Then in addition, we have a wide range of enhanced cooperation and rules where we try to tackle mainly non-tariff barriers. This goes through basically commitments in the area of customs and trade facilitation. So we have a very good relations with the customs, and we try to create less of, let's say, barriers to trade. Rules of origin, which determine when a good can be considered as originating in. And then technical barriers to trade, which can often be an issue for exporters. So we try to, especially for electronics and pharmaceuticals, let's say, to avoid those technical barriers to trade. And then in the area of food, we also have commitments on sanitary and phytosanitary measures. In addition, we also look into what we call more innovation and emerging areas. So this is typically linked to intellectual property rights. Although Singapore is already a very IP-friendly business hub, we do have additional commitments in our free trade agreement, which can involve patents, trademarks, copyrights, or geographical indications. We also have a chapter dedicated already to e-commerce, but as I said before, we are now with this new digital trade agreement upgrading the provisions in that e-commerce chapter. And lastly, very important, we also have various commitments on sustainability. We have a dedicated chapter which we call Trade and Sustainable Development, where we have two aspects of trade which are linked to labor rights, so that we have a protection of labor rights also embedded in the agreement, but also on the environment, so commitments towards climate change. And in addition, we have a dedicated chapter on renewable energy generation, which was quite innovative. It was the first time that we added this as a specific chapter in a free trade agreement. And this aims at eliminating all types of non-tariff measures for renewable energy. And this is very interesting indeed for this particular mission, which is in this field. I also wanted to talk a bit about our platform that we have created in the European Commission, which is Access to Markets. This is a free platform that you can access from throughout the globe, where you can find all relevant information to access third markets. So here you will know how to export to a third market, but also for services and procurement, we have now dedicated tools. But in addition, if you would have an issue encountered in a third market, you can also file through the single entry point a complaint to the European Commission, so we can assess that complaint and maybe help you in tackling a certain barrier that you might encounter in a third country. So this is obviously a very important tool if you're looking into internationalizing, going beyond the EU market for your trade. So definitely use this tool, as it is free and also available in several languages. And then lastly, I also wanted to share some links. So on the website of the European Commission from DigiTrade, you will have a dedicated section on Singapore. There you will find all the texts, fact sheets, guides on the free trade agreement, but also on the investment protection agreement and the new digital trade agreement. So that's very important for you to look into if you are looking for some specific information. And then on our delegation website, we have also some interesting guides on Singapore, on our trade agreement. So we just published a new Singapore trade and investment brochure, which we will hand to you in physically when you come to Singapore, but you can already have a look on our website. So we are very much looking forward to welcoming you to Singapore. And if you have any question, please feel free to ask. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this presentation. As shared, Jean-Pierre, we are really much looking forward to seeing you again in person in Singapore. We'll share all these links, useful links and documents with all the participants. And now I'm giving the floor to Benoit Tardy. Very much it's very nice to see you again for the presentations of the Southeast Asia IP SME Help Desk.
Thank you, Theodora, for the invitation, and very happy to collaborate again with the cluster mission. I'm based in Vietnam. My name is Benoit, and I represent the Southeast Asia IP SME Help Desk. Basically, you may hear about us because we will support the mission in various forms. The first was today, quick presentation about us, the initiative of European Commission, our services, how we can support. Then you will receive IP kit under PDF format, like 3 pages. And also there will be, let's say, the bigger chunk on IP, intellectual property training on the 22nd of October. Let me begin the presentation. So basically, we are an initiative of the European Commission, more first-line confidential advice. This is all about intellectual property, so from IP protection, IP management, building an IP strategy. We also help and support for enforcement in terms of advice and also, let's say, of contacts. It's important to remind that we cover Southeast Asia. I'm based in Vietnam, but we also cover the whole region, so Vietnam, Thailand, Indonesia, Singapore, Philippines, Malaysia, Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, and Brunei. We also have a team in Europe in case you need for, let's say, a different kind of support. We are focusing on SMEs, small and medium enterprises, from the European Union, but also from the single market program. So it means we can also support, for example, Turkey and Ukraine SMEs. Basically, these are the services that we provide. We heard before that, yes, Singapore is a hub. I think it was also mentioned by Jean-Pierre several times, IP-friendly hub in terms of IP, intellectual property. So basically, the services that we provide may help you to take some IP decisions, good decisions before doing business in Singapore. So we have the inquiry helpline, basically an email address where you can ask all your IP-related questions. Then you also have something more specific, is that you can book a virtual consultation with myself to discuss about anything related to IP, Singapore, or any other country from Southeast Asia. It's free of charge and confidential, so feel free to use this service. We'll have some, we have a newsletter, we have a lot of trainings and live webinars, some tools also available on the website. And I wanted to share a bit about the publications, because this is something quite useful for companies. It's written in English. It can be downloaded to PDF format. And I'm very happy to share that we recently uploaded the Singapore IP country fact sheet. It's rather updated and will give you already an overview of all the IP rights and even enforcement issues, enforcement tips for Singapore. This is to show how we can, in practice, support. We can support companies from one side, but also multipliers, stakeholders, like clusters, like other initiatives from European Commission, trade agencies, chambers of commerce, associations, and so on. We would, for example, organize some trainings, hybrid, on-site, either in Southeast Asia or even with our team in Brussels. We can do it and arrange trainings in Europe. We also have these nice consultation meetings that can be organized before a trade mission or during a trade fair. And last but not least, we also participate in some IP awareness raising events to try to stress on the importance of IP and why it's important to protect intellectual property rights. So, in fact, when we talk about IP, the most important is to know what we're talking about. I will give you a very short introduction because you will have a more detailed presentation on the 22nd of October. But basically, IP refers to the creation of the mind, works of art, invention, trademarks, design, computer programs, many other things. IP is quite complex and also a wide topic. You may have one general IP law per country or several IP laws. You may have national, regional practice or laws, but you also have the additional layer with international treaties, and even you may have some free trade agreements, for example, Singapore and EU. This was mentioned earlier. by the other speakers. And when we talk about IP, intellectual property, you have basically two branches. One is what we call industrial property, patents, trademarks, industrial designs, geographical indications. And on the other side, you have what we call the copyright and related rights. This is to protect original works that can be literary works, films, music, artistic, related, even software and data banks. This is very, very short introduction, and you will have something way more specific and detailed. If you're interested, feel free to then join the next training. Now that you know what is IP, I wanted to share why IP is important. Try to convince you, or if you're helping any members or companies. Basically, these are four interesting elements that you can use. The first is security, to prevent competitors from using intangible assets, but also to avoid infringing third parties' rights. Then you have the competitive advantage. Basically, when you protect IP, it helps to foster innovation. You also help to disseminate technical information, and you also are able to open and create new markets through joint ventures and local partnerships. The third and fourth elements, it's something quite related to finance, and it will interest a lot investors. Basically, when you protect IP and let's say take a bit of information on IP, you have first the income generation part. So this is what we call IP commercialization through license, through franchise, and you are also able to raise capital. So you may use IP as collateral to obtain financing. This is what we call IP valuation. So you see that IP already covers a lot of different aspects. I just wanted lastly to share at least 3 publications, reports that are important on top of the other publications. First, the Global Innovation Index. I think this was mentioned by Arne from the Singapore Business Federation. Basically, it's like taking the pulse of innovation, and you have many different countries observed and ranked. This year, Singapore was ranked 4th out of 133 economies, so it shows again the quite good ranking or level. Then you have the European Commission report on intellectual property rights in third countries, basically just showing what are the issues in some countries highlighted by the report. Singapore is not in this report. And the last one is quite interesting also to know how EU SMEs are protecting their intellectual property rights and assets, intangible assets. So the IP SME scoreboard from 2022. And this was published by the EU IPO. Basically, this is all for me. If you have any question, I'm happy to answer them, or then we may see each other on the 22nd of October. It will be a presentation done by one of our IP experts.
Thank you very much, Benoit. Yes, for the European participants, it's good to know that within the agenda for the first day during the 22nd of October, we have also planned a session, a dedicated session with another nearly 20-25 minutes to speak more about this important topic. Also, again, I would like to remind that all the materials that you're seeing today, together with this recording, but as well as the individual presentations, will be uploaded on the European Cluster Collaboration Platform. So you can follow the information. Of course, there is a contact details. So if in the meantime you have questions, you can always direct those questions directly to the individual presenters. And I would like to welcome on the floor Daniel for the presentation of the Bit2Match. Also a very warm welcome to all Singaporean participants that are joining us for this session. So it would be important for them to understand more on how we will structure the matchmaking day. So yes, please, Daniel, the floor is yours.
you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this webinar also from my side. Let us go a little bit now to technicalities. So the matchmaking event is done via B2Match. Of course, some of you, maybe most of you know already about it, but it is always useful to remind ourselves how this functions. It's like when you are flying, always in the beginning they tell you the same thing, how to the security measures. So also for the ones who already know about it, I think it's a very useful information. So let's go on. Next slide, please. So when you the web page will be open, and you will get of course the link for the registration. And first of all, you have to register. If you already have if you have participated in other matchmaking events done via B2Match, so you should use the email that you have already used, because the B2Match, the platform, remembers most of the information in your profile. So there is no need to go with another mail account, but of course you can do it if you want, but then it's just more difficult because you have to start from zero again and to fill in all the information. So when registering, use our advice is to use the email that you have already used for other matchmaking events in the platform, if this is the case. So you register, you click there, and then from the very beginning you have to make a choice. You are either EU participant or Singapore participant. And then you continue. They ask you all kind of questions, then you have to click on the agenda. Actually, the agenda is kind of mandatory. So, but we put it also inside, because then if you click, then you see also it's a first contact that you have with the agenda of the event. The agenda in PDF format is also to be found in several places on the website. So no worries about it, but yes, just click and select the topics on the agenda. So it's you should select all topics. Next, if we go now in the menu, so after you have registered, you will be validated. You have to be validated by the organizers, and when you enter inside, for example, I have done this as an exercise, so I have registered myself. And you see, the first thing you have to do, you have to add opportunities for cooperation. You either request something or you offer something. This is why you are going to this matchmaking event. This you can done by clicking on add an opportunity, if you see there, or clicking on the marketplace, which you see, you'll see in the menu above. Next slide. And then, for example, if you this is ours is empty now because nobody has entered anything. But if you go to the marketplace, you see how people who have already placed some opportunities. This is from another event. So this is how it will look like. And also from here, if you see that there are products or services that are relevant for you, you can also request a meeting from here, from the marketplace. You can also in the left side, you can filter if you are looking for products or for services or for expertise. You can select the kind of cooperation that you are looking for, and then the platform filters for you, and then you have not to scroll through all the marketplace, also for items that are not so relevant for you. Next. Then if you go to participants, there you see who has already registered. So next slide, please. Yeah, again, we don't have anybody yet except for myself, but this is from another event. So, and you can, so either you go by the marketplace and then you see what people have to offer and to demand, or you go by the participants and then you have the list of all participants that have registered. And of course, here you also can request meetings, as you see from this you can click on request meetings. If the request meeting is gray, that means that the participant, as it was the case here, was already fully booked. If the request meetings is blue, then you can request a meeting with the person. Yes, next. Yeah, if we go then up again in the menu, we go to meetings. Next, yeah, I have not. This is how it looks like. You have the accepted meetings. So when you request a meeting, either going by the marketplace, as I have already told you, or by the participants, you request a meeting. The meeting has to be accepted. So if you request a meeting, you will have in pending, you will have one. Then when the meeting is accepted, then you will have accepted in one in accepted. So the meetings can be either accepted or pending. The meetings which are accepted, will take place. The pending ones means that the other or yourself, have not accepted yet. Because this is why you should, starting from now on until the event, you should constantly, from time to time, regularly, you should enter your account and see what happens there. If people are requesting meetings with you, or you have requested meetings and they have accepted or not accepted, you will be also informed by email. But it is because some of these emails, depending on your security of your email account, or security softwares, or settings, some of these emails from B2Match go into spam. So this is it is advisable that you enter your account from time to time to see what happens with your meetings, because this is why you are going there. Next. Yeah, you see, this is another example. You see the people. If you go by participants, and then you have this blue item where you can click to request a meeting. Next. Yeah, then in the menu we have also the agenda. Next, in the agenda you see where you participate. As I told you, it's quite mandatory to participate to all the at least for the European participants, participate to all the program. But this is now where you see if I wanted, for example, if I wanted to not to participate to something, I can remove, or if I have not selected by something, I can add. But you have your agenda. The point of this slide is to show you that you can at any time, you can see what is the agenda of the event. Also, there are some details about the venues. Venue are given here. So if you, I don't know, for whatever reason you get lost, somewhere, and you don't know where to go to, in the agenda you can always see where this takes place, at what time, and so on. Next. We have also in the menu the conversations. For example, you have requested, when you request a meeting, maybe you want a little bit to make also a little bit of introduction, to tell to your counterpart why you want to meet him or her. So in the conversation, you can exchange, next slide, you can exchange you can exchange, like in Messenger. Yes, you can exchange information and talk to your counterparts. These are completely confidential, so nobody sees except for you who you are sending the message and the one who receives the message. Nobody else can ever see what you are talking to your counterparts. So it is useful to use this when you ask the meeting to make a short introduction of yourself. And of course, it is useful to do this if your counterpart does not, is late in accepting a pending request, a pending meeting, for whatever reasons. And if you send a message, they will be notified that you have sent a message. So this is also another opportunity to make them attentive that you wish to meet with them. Next slide. Yes, there will be a debriefing survey after the event takes place, and the European Cluster Collaboration Platform is constantly trying to improve the services. So this is why we need your feedback. And also, we would like to document also the cases of cooperation, because we expect that from this matchmaking event, some commercial or technological or research cooperation will come out, and we kindly ask you to fill in the survey. For the European participants, we kindly ask you, of course, but it is also mandatory in order to get reimbursed for your travel costs. Thank you. Next slide. Yes, next steps. So the meetings will be open. You will get the link. Yes, please use this as an opportunity, as we showed you. Yes, it comes big on the screen, add an opportunity. This is very important that you explain what you have to offer or what you are requesting, and then start booking meetings. And on the day of the event, please check your agenda and also of the meetings agenda, download it. Yes, and in order to know to what table you should go at what time. Yes, and next. If you have questions, we are here for you to answer them.
Thank you very much, Daniel. By the time we are waiting for some questions, I would like also to repeat a couple of the things that has been said also earlier. So for you, just to know the link that you have seen the presentation, we still haven't shared yet the link to B2Match. We will do the final updates on the B2Match and to make sure to share the correct information. So the link will be shared to European participants as well as to the Singaporean participants. You will have the recording, as well as you will have this particular part of this presentation for the B2Match. You will have it available. So when you start doing your setting up, establishing your profiles, if you have some questions or you're not quite sure, of course you will have a chance to get back to us. Also, we will be if you see that there is no enough if you see that during the process you are communicating with with other participants, please make sure that if you have questions, share with us so we can also follow up also with our colleagues from Singapore. So if you have questions, we are waiting for questions to follow up with you. Daniel, would you like to share some information more?
Yeah, we are waiting for your questions. So if I assume that everything is clear, so it's the, yeah, we've done this before. So yes, and we are always for you here. Also, on the platform, you will find also the contact of us. So our contacts, you can ask us by email directly if you encounter problems. Yes, we are for you here to support you also in the registration process if you encounter problems. Yes.
I see that there is a question coming with regards to the logistic. Yes, during the next days, you will also, in addition with the recording and the final agenda of the overall mission from 22nd, 23rd, and 24th of October. This is for the Europeans that will have the 3 days mission. You will have full details for each day. Obviously, the matchmaking day is starting on the 22nd. The meetings that you will be scheduling together with the Singaporean participants will be on the 22nd in the afternoon. I think there is a number of, you will see when you create your profiles, you will see the number of meetings that you can create. You will have your as a diary. And then you will share full details about the logistics on the 23rd and the 24th, together with the visit to the expo, as well as the site visits that we are organizing in the 23rd and the 24th in the afternoon. So this is all will coming in the next couple of days. Please make sure that you are checking your emails. So all the information to be fully, to be in line with the latest information.
About the agenda, there is a question. So the agenda is in several places. You have here the agenda where is written agenda. Then you have the PDF agenda here. Yes, you have also the agenda. If you go into your profile, as I have, do you see my screen? Is something happening on the screen? Yes, it's moving also.
Yes. I mean, you're logging in. Yes.
Yeah. So if we go, so the agenda is also how I've showed you. Yes, it's it's in several places. It's also in your account. Yeah, you see all the details. So the agenda you will find all over. Yeah, on the web page.
As well as all the details, remember that all the information together with the useful details, it's uploaded on the European Cluster Collaboration Platform event page. So we are keeping all the recordings, documents, and everything there. So of course, we will make sure that in B2Match as well as on the ECCP, the agenda together with the participants booklet info pack, it's all there.
Yeah, maybe about to insist a little bit more about this. Yeah, I'm registered. Yes, I have to. Yes, have to approve myself.
In the meantime, there is a question from Georgiana about whether the call for SME is still open. Yes, the call for SMEs is open till the 8th of October. So we would really urge, if there is interest from someone else to join the mission, we would urge you to this to be done as soon as possible.
So this opportunity, which I talk, this is very important, and in several often this is neglected. So this is very important to explain why you are there, what do you need, or what do you offer. So you have in this marketplace in add-on opportunities, as I showed you, you have all kind of possibilities to express your request or offer, like products, services. If you request a partnership, a long-term partnership, if you are interested in projects, if you want to invest, or if you are looking for investment, if you have a know-how transfer, that you are needing or offering, yeah, or anything else. If these categories do not fit with what you offer or demand, you have also this category of other requests. Yes, and so yeah, if you have all kind of possibilities to express what you like, yeah, and you just yeah, it is helping also you. For example, if you ask for a service, you see, it's all kind of the platform is also helping you, so you don't have to write novels there, but it's very important that you say what you are looking for or what you are offering.
Okay, I see there is another question. So the link, together with the materials will be shared with you in the next 2 days. It is still this is like in a demo mode. We need to make sure that all the information it's synchronized. So the moment the B2Match platform is live, we will share with you. So it will be also shared with the Singaporean participants. So you can start creating your profiles and requesting meetings. So the moment this is live, we will share with you. We expect this to be done in the next 2 days. Also, I see a question coming with regards to visa. Of course, you have to check whether you need a visa. I mean, there is no need of invitation from our side, but I think there is no visa Europeans to travel to Singapore. There is just like a travel document that you go, it's online, but we will send you the links for this useful useful links that you need to check prior traveling. So yes, so to summarize, you will receive the links, the link for the recording, the links with regards to where all the information is for the European Cluster Collaboration Platform, where you find all the documents that has been presented. Also the link to register and create your profiles in B2Match. If our Singaporean partners and colleagues, representatives from different organizations, if you feel that there is a need to have a separate meeting in terms to make more, if you need some additional help, please let us know. We will be able to help you to register the Singaporean participants as well. I mean, as Daniel said, many of the Europeans have been traveling not only to have been being part of the other missions and been using B2Match, but if you see any need of additional support, please let us know. And there will be practical aspects for the group from Europe, so they can make their travel and planning better. Also for the expo, which will, or the visit to the expo that we will do on the 23rd of October with the European participants. There will be a link to register and create your profiles for the expo, where you can also schedule additional meetings with participants and exhibitors in the expo. So we will summarize. We don't want to you to be confused where and how to register. We will summarize with the different steps. The information which is related to B2Match, the information which is related to some traveling and other logistical aspects. Majority, I mean, I think the Europeans have been already have planned the trip. Also, we have provided information about the hotel. European and Singaporean participants will have the opportunity to have also to spend time not only during the afternoon on the 22nd for the matchmaking, but as well as at the networking dinner, which is taking place on the 22nd. So we will try to, we're working very hard with the colleagues from the Singapore Business Federation and Enterprise Singapore to have a very dense use and good program and due to use many of the opportunities to collaborate and open door for our future collaborations. So there is a question with regards to the expo. So if you look into the Singapore International Energy Week website, there are many summits taking place during the umbrella of the Singapore Energy International Week. For the summits, as has been written at the very beginning of the different summits, they have different entry fees. This is for the conference program. This is something that we do not provide. We are finalizing our partnership with the Expo. And for the Expo, we will send you the link to register, as well as to register as a trade visitor, which will allow you to make additional meetings through their system. But information on that will follow. We are just waiting for them to receive the exact procedure for creating your profiles for the Expo. And we will let you know, this is also something very important also to prepare once you register for the Expo, to prepare and to make sure that you have a good plan and understanding who is going to be at the Expo, and to plan the time in the best possible way. If you can have a look at the last question in the chat. Or we can take the notes to exchange further details on later. We can take a note of this question and we can get back with more details. About the draft agenda, I see that there have been a question. Yes, there is a draft agenda for the mission, and we will share to you as a follow-up to this webinar, as well as you can find it all the updates already on the European Cluster Collaboration Platform, as well as will be synchronized with the information that you will see on B2Match. Also, I wanted to share that we will also share with all the participants, so with the Europeans, we will share you the participants, so you can see each other, and we will create a LinkedIn group where you can also communicate. We are also very much looking forward to meeting you all in Singapore. We are very thankful to our partners for making this event happening in the best possible way. So really, during the next 3 weeks, make sure that you are dedicated to prepare, to engage already. So we really have 3 very very good, well planned in advanced days, which needs also your involvement. And as I said, and as has been said earlier from Christoph Gischardt, as well as Daniel, that would be very important after the event to hear your feedback, quality feedback on the potential of collaborations, because this is really helping for us to plan better, but also to make to understand the value of all these efforts done, as well as what is the potential of collaboration. Thank you. I think we have covered majority of the aspects. Thank you, colleagues. Thank you to all partners and colleagues that has been with us today and supported the development of this webinar. Even after the webinar, if there is I would like to repeat once again, after the webinar, if you see that more information is needed on a particular aspect, please let us know, and we will try to find the answer and to respond to it in the best possible way. Okay, so with that, I think we are going to the end of this webinar. I don't see more open questions. Once again, thank you very much. And I hope you will all prepare in the best possible way for a very successful matchmaking event in Singapore. Thank you, partners.